There is a fear known as liminalophobia, the fear of liminal spaces. Not because it is empty, but the fear of someone watching. That is the cause of that fear. Sometimes we are never alone. Obelisk is an analog horror series made by Lizard Menning, a 21-year-old VFX artist on YouTube. This series excels at using atmospheric and liminal horror. As of December 3rd, 2025, there are 7 videos in the Obelisk series. So let's drive in. I made a new friend. Do you want to meet him? He lives in here. The he entity lives in a closet that looks like a kid's room. Pretty creepy. If you look closely, you can even see it. But whenever you open the closet door, he disappears. According to this kid right here, the entity would sometimes come out and watch cartoons with the kid. Then, we get to see what the entity looks like. It looked like a cursed hell version of Big Bird from Sesame Street. The Biggie Bird monster sees the kid and slowly goes back into the closet, showing that it is peaceful, hopefully. The video begins with the Biggie Bird opening the door, and Bro's face is for some reason redacted, like he's part of the Epstein files. We get to see in greater detail that the Biggie Bird has very long arms and is very tall. We are cut to an open door in the middle of a forest. I assume that is how the Biggie Bird entered the house. Strangely, the door has no walls surrounding it, almost like the door is a magic portal. Interesting. Then we are shown to this fat-ass Timu siren head-looking ass creature.
What the hell? Oh my God, no way,
Damn, I think Bro got rage baited. Then we are cut to this scene of the door, but one of the doors on the left has been opened. See the difference? I think I can make a theory of what is happening. The theory is that the Biggie Bird is trying to run away from that siren head creature, and it's trying to hide inside the house of where that magic door leads to. But why? The video starts off with a room with a chair blocking a door, almost like someone or something is in the house who is a danger. Then we get an objective where the parent has to check on Abby. By the way, the parents knows there is an intruder in the house and left Abby unprotected.
You stupid n-
When the parent reached Abby's room, Abby is missing. At this scene, we are able to see what this entity looks like, a relentless and evil entity that haunts the corridors of the house with no windows. It looks like a black jester and looks like it is wearing a creepy mask. Let's call it the Jester, because it looks like an emo pomni. Unlike the Biggie Bird, the Jester is very hostile to the parent and has most likely taken the baby to do God knows what with it.
I recently found a strange, abandoned house. There are no other houses built around it, and is seemingly in the middle of nowhere.
It has no doors or windows. There are no obvious ways inside.
Whoever's perspective we are watching from, they entered the house where the jester, Biggie Bird, and most likely other entities are living. This person really just sneaked into a house where there are no windows. When the person sneaked into the house, we get this very important description.
It smells like burnt matches.
Why does the house smell like brunt matches? And why are the chairs and table in that room all upside down? That's kind of weird, but we should keep that in mind. Then the person we are watching from find this very tall door, almost like it's tall enough for the jester to walk in. Interesting.
Another room.
Still God. What does that mean? When God says, "Be still," particularly in Psalm 46:10, it means to cease striving, surrender anxiety, and trust his sovereignty, acknowledging he is God. Not that we should become passive. That means the jester thinks he's God and does not mess around.
What are you? I know your face.
That is the Biggie Bird. It remembers the person we are watching from. That person is the same kid in the video, my new friend. However, they don't recognize the kid, which would mean that these creatures don't understand time or change. It would make sense as to why the Biggie Bird is hiding from the person who broke into the house, since the Biggie Bird would think of him or her as a stranger. But at least the Biggie Bird somewhat remembers the kid by the face. So it's safe to confirm that the Biggie Bird is a safe and peaceful entity that only feeds off from imagination.
She is in here somewhere.
That caterpillar is Abby, the baby girl in Your Home. But why is she seen as a caterpillar in the jester's POV? Well, Abby being a caterpillar generally refers to the early growth-focused larval stage of a butterfly's life cycle. It symbolises a period of rapid development, voracious feeding, and immense potential for transformation. Yep, safe to say, this is what the jester POV looks like.
You're not how I remember you, Abby.
As we can see after the events of In Your Home, the jester is not only scary, it is also very dangerous since it's able to hurt the parent and get away with it. There it was. Staring at the parent was the jester. Parent with no choice closes the door, head back to their room with deep regret.
Please forgive me.
There it was. Staring at the parent was the jester. Parent with no choice closes the door, head back to their room with deep regret. These interdimensional creatures turn homes into prisons by manipulating doors and closets as portals. They feed on the minds of children. For the jester, it kills children and feeds on their trauma.
How are things going?
I'm just thinking. I've had Goldie for years, and I had to bear him yesterday. It's just strange that he's gone now. Where do you think he is?
I'm not quite sure, but some people believe that when a loved one passes away, a small piece of them can come back as something else to visit you when you're sad. I don't see why it'd be different for a fish. I'm sure he'd still want to come by and check up on you. Hello?
Who's at the door? It's a butterfly.
We meet two new characters, Bluebird and Redbird. I assume the Redbird is the parent and the Bluebird is the kid of Redbird. Bluebird is sad that his pet fish, Goldie, who has died. This Sesame Street video is very eerie, but there is a good reason as to why it is. I believe that the butterfly represents Abby's death. Butterflies represent transformation, freedom, and the soul's transition after death. It connects to her previous caterpillar form and represents the often horrific, lingering presence of lost loved ones. The graveyard probably represents the afterlife or the souls of past victims of the jester. The caterpillar represent a traumatic transformation or kidnapping by the creatures, or a grotesque, incomplete transformation of a child taken by the entities. The butterfly represents a transformed soul, signalling that a loved one, which is most likely the child Abby. Finally, the last video. In the description, it just says David. I wonder who that David is. We are opened up to a guy waking up in a dark bedroom. From what I see, this must be the same house way back in the video, the house with no windows. As the POV person walks down the stairs, we get this very important detail. It smells like burnt matches. I believe this is the same guy from the house with no windows. I believe he is David. After David explores, he realizes he is trapped in the house with no escape. So he boarders up his room. Most likely, he saw something dangerous. There he is, the Biggie Bird. After David tried to run away from the Biggie Bird, he sees it again. It was looking at him. After David kept running away, we are able to see its full body, the Biggie Bird standing at least 8 feet tall, looking at him. Then David ran into this room away from the Biggie Bird. This room is so familiar even to David, I realized. One thing, David is the same kid in the first video of Obelisk. The Biggie Bird is David's childhood friend.
David. Welcome back, David.